I am very happy today. This is a great day. I can compare this day to the day of the signing of the CPA in 2005 and also July 9th, 2011. And we pray that this will be a beginning of great things for South Sudan and will encourage our people both in the opposition and in the government to continue negotiating for a better future for all of us and for our children. May God bless South Sudan.
This is a very great day, a very great day for me and South Sudan people, because this is an agreement to reach for the ceasefire hostility. Because of those two parties to reach an agreement, they are ahead thinking about for the people of South Sudan. Really, I'm happy what the president and the other parties are doing today. I'm very happy. Really, South Sudan have a big future in the coming. Really, I'm happy today what we reach. Really, thank you very much. God bless South Sudan and the people of South Sudan.
The agreement we signed today, as the government of the Republic of South Sudan, as said by our President Salva Kiir, is keen about the people of South Sudan, that he will never take the people of South Sudan to the war. The government, we welcome the agreement, cessation of hostility, and the release of detainees. And I hope in our side of the government, we will keep this agreement in our side of the government, because the SPLA, it is the law that governance. But the other side of the rebel is the big challenging, because they are not under control. So if there is any problem, it will not be our side of the government. And I hope that I call upon the rebel to control their side and to respect this agreement and to lay down their government, because our president always a very good president. We give amnesty, and you said you will not take people back to South Sudan. I hope, as the government, will keep this agreement. And thank you very much.
Executive Secretary for the Pan-African Women Organization. And I'm here in Addis Ababa to stand with our brothers and sisters of the Southern Sudan, to stand with all the African women who have been very concerned on the plight of the youngest country on the continent, that we were all very proud of to have been independent. And we were very concerned because of the abuse of human rights, the losses of lives. But I'm very happy and excited, and I want to congratulate our brothers and sisters of the Southern Sudan for having seen the need to make peace and not war. You were in war for so many years. It wouldn't have been right for you to throw it away. So many lives have been lost. A lot of blood has been shed, but we pray and hope that that will be the sacrifice for the people of Southern Sudan to be completely and permanently peaceful. Let no evil, let no other parties deceive you. The peace and strength of Southern Sudan is by you, the Southern Sudanese people. Nobody else can do it for you but you. The rest of us are your brothers, your sisters. We are backing you, we are working with you, but the role, the main role, is by you, the people of the Southern Sudan. Don't shame us, don't make us regret. We are the mothers and the daughters of Africa, and we are counting on you. Please, we hope this will be it and it forever. Amen. Let peace prevail in the Southern Sudan. A luta continua, but for a good cause, not for war again. Thank you so much. Asante sana. Sasa tutatembea pamoja, tutakuwa na nyinyi. Lazima tuone development inaingizana kwa Southern Sudan. Nimeshukuru sana.
Sudanese Women for Peace Mission, we are so happy today that finally the cessation of hostility have been signed, and this is a great honor for us and for those women who are running, and men and children who are running under the tree, who are trying to recover, and we appreciate the two parties for coming to this conclusion. We say thank you so much for coming to your senses and signing this agreement for the benefit of the people of South Sudan. The South Sudan is one nation, one people, one peace, one unity. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful to God for giving us this opportunity. They say every journey starts with one step. So today is a great day that this peace has been signed, and we hope that the coming steps also will be conducted in a peaceful and honest manner. So we hope that the people of South Sudan will be able to realize peace, and hope today they will be able to sleep, and the women will be able to restore their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I bring you greetings from the United States and Canada, from the Sudanese community, South Sudanese community diaspora based in US and Canada. First of all, I'm happy that the two parties has put their differences aside, and they put the importance of the South Sudan ahead. South Sudan is a very big country. Let us respect our diversity. We should not be able to go back to fight. I want to tell you one important thing. We need a leader that who can serve the South Sudan, a leader who could put the interests of the people first and put his interests behind. We need a leader that he can be able to respect other people's diversity. And therefore, the people in the diaspora, United States and Canada, will work with the people of South Sudan to rebuild the government of South Sudan, to have the future, a better future for South Sudan. The state of Israel was built by the power of the diaspora. So we in the diaspora would like to come back and rebuild the South Sudan in every aspect of the life of the South Sudan.
Coup and its consequent fighting is a concern for everyone from Africa to Asia to Europe to Australia and to America.
At long last, after 20 days of hard negotiations, with some agonizing and worrying moments, but always with high expectations, we at long last are witnessing the signing of the two very important agreements on the cessation of hostility and the issue of the detainees today.
Ever since its outbreak, this conflict has been out in the territory of South Sudan, leaving in its wake a troubling trail of human sufferings. Hundreds of thousands have been displaced and thousands have been killed. In fact, as I speak, we do not know the full magnitude of the human sufferings and indeed the economic, social, political consequences of this conflict. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on its part, the national and regional ramifications of this conflict were clear to the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, from the very beginning. As a member state of IGAD, bordering 4 other IGAD member states, the ripple effects of the conflict in South Sudan was bound to spill far and wide.
To be mindful of the work ahead of us in achieving a lasting solution to the crisis in the Republic of South Sudan. We have only achieved a successful beginning towards that end. But the Chinese say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. But this is more than one step. It is truly a milestone. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the signing of the agreements mark an important milestone in the IGAD-led mediation process that began on the 3rd of January, which exactly is 20 days as of today, in pursuit of peaceful political solution to the crisis that has gripped the Republic of South Sudan since December 2013. The crisis has already caused a grave humanitarian crisis, claiming the lives of thousands of South Sudanese
and displacing hundreds of thousands, not to mention the destruction of property that has assumed alarming proportions. This is a tragedy not only for the Republic of South Sudan, but to the region as a whole. We all recall that South Sudan was born with the full support of the region and the international community at large. We also recognize that South Sudan is still a young and nascent state, which is still in the process of state building, which cannot be achieved overnight. The crisis that gripped South Sudan recently is a mere manifestation of the challenges that face young and fledgling state and institutions of that state that need to be built and carefully managed. What was of great concern to the region was how quickly the crisis transformed into a national crisis, engulfing the entire nation, and had already begun taking an ethnic undertones. Violence of untold magnitude has been going on for almost 6 weeks, with corresponding dramatic humanitarian consequences, not least for the most vulnerable of the South Sudanese population, women and children. Incidents of this nature often leave behind grieving and frequently vengeful families who have to survive amid confusing violence.
For the international community, including the African Union, the European Union, and the United Nations. We praise the relentless efforts promoted by the IGAD chair and renew our support to the organization in its commitment to ensure peace and security to the region, peace and security which can only be reached when IGAD member states act in a compact way, as it happened today. This was also and is an important challenge for IGAD. We acknowledge that the two parties were finally able to put their differences aside and to give priority to peace for their people, who have been suffering unnecessarily during the latest weeks of fighting. The world is supporting South Sudan and is expecting to see prompt implementation of the agreement signed today, which we are ready to support in close coordination with IGAD, starting from the verification mechanisms and from giving relief to the dramatic humanitarian situation, whose full extent we have not yet, unfortunately, fully appreciated. It is an important step, as His Excellency Seymour's team has underlined, but a decisive one. More decisive, it will be the next step, to implement effectively this ceasefire. We all owe a full respect of this mechanism, and we owe it most of all to the South Sudanese people.
To the parties, we thank you for being here. We thank you for finding the first step of agreement. But we also say, enough. The killing must end. The displaced must be able to return to their homes. Women must feel safe from violation. Children must be protected. Honor your citizens, respect your neighbors.
Today's signature is the first step in a long journey. It is incumbent upon the South Sudanese parties to complete this journey and meet the yearning of their people for peace, security, and development. The African Union will continue to be on your side as you walk this journey. At the end of this month, the African Union Peace and Security Council will be meeting in Addis Ababa to consider, among others, the situation in South Sudan. We will be pleased to seize the occasion to report about today's positive development.
And the humanitarian situation for hundreds of thousands of South Sudanese caught up in the conflict remains dire. Large numbers will continue to need urgent assistance for some time to come. We call on the signatories of this agreement to uphold your obligations under international humanitarian law and ensure that humanitarian agencies are able to provide assistance without any obstruction or fear for their safety. It is also vital, as has been expressed before, as the monitoring of the cessation of hostilities begins, the parties urgently begin the next steps towards political reconciliation. This must include those currently detained. A process in South Sudan agreed with the region and supported by the international community must be negotiated and must begin. It needs to be inclusive, and we would particularly welcome in the Troika the involvement of civil society, the involvement of women's groups, and of those, some of those who are beginning to take part in this process. We think that the building of the needs, or the working for the needs of the people of South Sudan is absolutely essential. The building of their institutions, security and prosperity.
The SPLM. And it needs a political solution and genuine engagement within the SPLM. I hope you will agree with me that political solution is the only solution that can bring peace and stability to South Sudan. The conflict in South Sudan, as you know, has been spreading out, causing the deaths of many innocent civilians, leading to displacement of hundreds of thousands, devastation of resources, and the destruction of property. Very sad to see in a newborn country, because that newborn country deserved peace and development, not another round of disaster. And the IGAD and the international community have expressed their concern about the violence and humanitarian crisis resulting from the armed conflict. And I join my friends who have already said, enough with destruction and violence. And we hope our brothers and sisters from South Sudan will demonstrate their commitment to the peace process and bring this negotiation to a success.
Excellencies, the Special Envoys, Ambassador Mesfin, General Sumbeo, and General Dabi, Excellency, Commissioner for Peace and Security of the African Union, Excellencies, Special Envoys and Ambassadors, my colleague and counterpart on the other side, Honorable Taban Dengai. I wish first and foremost to commend the two delegations for the tireless efforts they have expended over the last 20 days of intensive negotiations. But above all, I wish to pay special tribute to the three special envoys, Ambassador Mesfin, General Sumbeo, and General Dabi, for the wisdom and perseverance they have displayed in steering the parties towards agreement. It was not easy, as evidenced by the length of time it has taken to get us to where we are today. There is no doubt that a lot of precious time and lives could have been saved had we all opted to be guided by the IGAD Summit Communique of December 27, 2013. From day one, the delegation of the government of the Republic of South Sudan has regarded that communique as the ideal roadmap for paving the way to the resolution of the issues at the root of the December 15, 2013 coup attempt and the deadly subsequent rebellion that it unleashed. The IGAD summit communique is unambiguous in its call for the parties to commence negotiations and cease hostilities without any preconditions. By not following the letter and spirit of the communique, we lost the opportunity to start addressing the key issues. Nevertheless, having now signed the agreements on the cessation of hostilities and the status of the detainees, we hope to be able to make haste towards an agreement that will end bloodshed and restore us to the path of democratic political life. Despite the signature of the agreement on the cessation of hostilities, we have no illusion that successfully implementing it will be easy. The SPLA is fully capable of ensuring that all its forces abide by the agreement on the cessation of hostilities in both letter and spirit. And we promise total cooperation with the monitoring and verification mechanism that we urge the special envoys to quickly set in motion. What really worries us in terms of whether the agreement on the cessation of hostilities will stick or not is the capacity of the rebel group. Given that the bulk of the rebel army is made up of civilians who are not subject to military discipline, orders to stop fighting may not be obeyed. And this will certainly make a mockery of the agreement. We would therefore urge IGAD and the broader international community to pay special attention to this problem. Otherwise, the search for peace could be jeopardized. Let me also take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to applaud the generous donations already made by some members of the international community towards alleviating the humanitarian plight induced by conflict in South Sudan. We hope the opportunity of relative calm and tranquility that the cessation of hostilities agreement will create could be utilized by aid agencies to provide vital humanitarian assistance to the needy. Last but not least, we would like to take this opportunity to urge the rebel group to heed the voice of reason and abandon the quest for political power through violence.
Focus is now turning on implementation of the agreement, which means the parties cease all military actions at each other, refrain from taking any actions that could lead to military confrontations, including all movement of forces, ammunition, resupply, or any other action that could be viewed as confrontational.
Enough with distraction and violence. And we hope our brothers and sisters from South Sudan will demonstrate their commitment to the peace process and bring this negotiation to a successful conclusion. Excellencies, we in IGAD believe that the parties are dedicated to a nationwide healing process and building of trust and confidence in their people, who are making heavy prices in this deadly conflict. The two sides need to advance the implementation of these agreements through dialogue and reconciliation process and walk their talk for the sake of their people.
The two parties to the agreement are also to cease hostile media and other propaganda campaigns, including any action that may undermine the peace process. The parties are further not to engage in any hostile propaganda, particularly those that fan ethnic hatred through any form of media. The parties are to refrain from attacking the civilian population and commit to the protection of human rights, life and property as provided by various national, continental and international instruments. The parties are to refrain from acts of rape, sexual abuse and torture as prohibited by applicable national, continental and international instruments. The agreement also provides that the parties cease acts of violence, including summary executions, displacement of populations, all forms of torture, destruction of property, attacking civilian aircrafts, vehicles or riverboats, recruitment of child soldiers or any other acts as prohibited by applicable national, continental and international instruments. The parties also agreed to provide enabling environment to facilitate decent burials of the dead and memorialization, support to reunion of families and any such acts that promote human dignity. The parties are to open humanitarian corridors to support humanitarian assistance and form a monitoring and verification mechanism under the leadership of Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD.